In this tutorial video, I will be showing you how to transfer your image onto clay using two different techniques. The first thing that you're going to want to do is get a plain piece of copy paper and sketch out the design that you wish to transfer. You can also print out an image and do a similar technique. But for this instance, I will be sketching out a simple composition. Notice that as I sketch, I'm making the lines very clean and simple. If your lines are very sketchy, it's going to be hard to follow them when it comes to transferring your image. For this project, I plan on making a bas-relief tile where I carve out the background, the middle ground, and the foreground. In order to help me out in my carving process, I decided to go ahead and label the background, the middle ground, and the foreground. Throughout the whole process of me carving, I want to keep these in mind because it will let me know the different depths in which I will carve. Now that my sketch is done, it's time to show you the first transfer technique. In this case, I am working with a leather hard slab of clay. I'm going to take my drawing, place it directly over my slab of clay, take a ballpoint pen, and draw over all of my sketched lines. As you go over the lines, the ballpoint pen might puncture through into the clay. That's okay. What we're trying to do is just put enough pressure so that an impression is made onto the clay. You can see here that when I tilt the tile on its side, these lines are clear. They're very subtle though. So, in order to make them more crisp and noticeable, go ahead and take a needle tool and lightly sketch in those areas where the impressions are made. Be careful to not go too deep with your needle tool. All this is a guideline that we can use when it's time to start sculpting on the tile. And finally, here you can see that I'm trying to identify the background, the middle ground, and foreground. Throughout this whole process, I'm keeping this in mind, so when it comes time to start carving, I'll know what to do. Okay. Now that first transfer is done, it's time for me to show you another technique of how to transfer your image. For this option, you are going to need a water-based marker. You must make sure that it's water-based. No permanent markers will work for this. What you're going to do is take that marker and go over all of your lines carefully. Once you've gone over all of the lines, you're going to flip it upside down and press it onto the clay. When I was doing this technique, I noticed that my clay was a little bit dry, so the images were not transferring very easily. In order to help it out, I first tried to take the edge of the marker to compress the drawing into the clay. That worked a little bit, but it needed a little bit more help. So I took a paintbrush and put a little bit of water on it. Don't put too much, or the ink on the other side will bleed and get really, really rough. So just put a little bit of water, and this will help the water-based marker to transfer onto the clay. So you can see here that I'm using that brush to damp and lightly cover the paper with water. Now you can take that marker once again and rub it onto the back of the paper so that it compresses into the clay. You can see here that the image is now transferred, but it's kind of hard to see. So what we're going to go ahead and do is take our needle tool, and just like last time, we are going to go over all of our lines to make them nice and clean. As soon as your image is transferred, you need to do this outline. If you put your tile away in the cupboard with a plastic bag over it, the condensation inside of the bag may remove or erase or smudge the transfer that you already made. So as soon as you're done with that transfer, take your needle tool and go over your lines. You may have also noticed that with this technique, your image will be flipped. If you have any type of lettering or writing, I would not recommend this technique. Okay, so here we go. I have both sides of my tile because I wanted to show it to you as a demo, done and transferred. Now it's time to move on to the next step, which is sculpting, which includes carving and adding clay to your tile.